What's going on, people? Welcome to Art of the Matter live show. I am your host, T Dub. I want to thank you for joining me for this 11th edition episode of Art of the Matter. I cannot believe we are on episode 11. This is incredible. And 11 is like my number. So I'm very much like feeling this moment completely right now. But again, I want to thank you guys for joining us. We have an amazing show for you guys this evening. Episode 11 featuring Cristina Martinez with a special guest appearance that you will see a little bit later. Premieres tonight. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. Got some dope guests. I got my boy Zach Self in the building with us today. So it's going to be a super, super awesome show. Of course, we got to let you know right here, right now is the perfect time to like, comment, and share the show. We want to be able to engage with our audience. And so we created a situation with the live shows where you can comment in real time. You can ask questions of myself and the guests that we have for the show today. Let me know what you guys got going on in the world, in your world of art, all the good things. So definitely make sure that you are in them comments, letting us know how much you enjoy this show. Sound good? All right. And of course, my favorite moment of every episode, we're going to catch the drip right quick. It up. Got my dad socks on. Shout out to Trinidad James. Got my Cristina Martinez for Nordstrom's exclusive drip merch. You know, we out here, baby. It's beautiful. And of course, the waves are back. Yes. You like my nails? Ain't they cute? It was Pride. I had to do it up. Had an amazing weekend for Pride, actually. It's the first time in a very long time that I didn't have to perform. So I got to just bounce around, see all the homies, hit all the stages. I was at Seattle Center, Capitol Hill, U District with Sway and Swoon. It was a good time. I saw Besa there. Shout out to Besa. We was in there turned up. But it was definitely a good time this weekend, especially given all the things that we have going on in the world right now. Of course, the situation with Roe v. Wade is very serious. This is a huge moment in the history of this country. And the simple fact that we are having to deal with stuff like this on top of all the things that we already have to deal with, it's pretty tragic, honestly, and it's definitely been weighing on my heart a little bit. But of course, creativity is the key to my life. So I'm definitely looking forward to finding some dope ways to get us back as a people to where we need to be. Sound good? Cool. All right. Now, gonna get into some art news. And this week, probably the next few episodes, the only art news that I have is my new venture, The Resole. Yes. If you haven't heard, I'm opening a store in the Central District. It's going to be huge. I'm bringing Seattle's very first dry cleaner for sneakers back home to the CD. It's going to be dope. You can drop off your shoes, get them clean, restored, customized, all that good stuff. So we actually signed the lease last week, and I got a little video. Check it out. What's going on, people? Today's the day. I'm headed to the offices of Blake Union Partners to sign my lease for The Resole. Very exciting journey getting to this point. Been working hard. Beginning of the journey. Pretty cool, right? I actually signed the lease this Thursday. So make sure that you hit up theresole206.com, subscribe to our newsletter, put your email in there so you can follow along the journey. I'm going to document the entire experience from start to finish. That was the beginning. So make sure you tap in with us on The Resole because it's going to be an incredible thing for the city, for the culture, for all of us. You know what I mean? So let's get it. All right. We're about to take a quick break, but before we do that, after we do that, we got Zach Self in the studio with us today to tell us about all the cool things that he has going on with the fields, learn about the fields, what they got going on in the youth sector, and all the fun stuff that they have going on. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned. You are watching The Art of the Matter.
Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
The truth with proof, the truth with proof. If you nice with the sports, then he swooping through. He gon' highlight you. Ain't nobody live like us, fly like us. We gon' find you, put the city behind you. Let us know you got skills, we gon' be at a game. In the Northwest, we reppin' the city where it rain.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Proof every Tuesday night right here on Converge Media. We are back, Art of the Matter Live, episode 11, featuring Cristina Martinez. But before we get into the episode and tapping in with her, I got my buddy Zach Self in the studio, man. What's going on, bro?
What's up? What's up?
What's good with you, man?
Oh, man, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you for coming, man. I tapped in with you, I want to say February.
Yeah.
When you guys did that super killer show at Axis.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, I see you're doing dope stuff in art. Like, let's collab. Let's figure out the situation.
Yep.
So yeah, so you're working with the Fields. You've been there since about 2017.
Yep.
So yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah. I've been working with the Fields. You know, shout out Tori.
Yep.
We've been doing this labor of love.
Yes, absolutely.
For the community, working with up and coming emerging artists, established artists, bringing them together, bringing them to Seattle.
Right.
We've been rocking with Axis for a few years. Jumped off at Love City Love.
Yep.
And yeah, just been building.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely dope to like see that level of curation and community come to that space. I feel like it had been such a long time, with us going through the pandemic and all that, of like going to a space and seeing a line down the block. I was like, oh my God, this is next level.
Yeah.
But you guys are really curating some super, super dope stuff. And like you said, having artists from all over be presented and represented in the way that is necessary.
Yeah. No, it's wild because right from 2017, I toured through the first Fields, 2016, and we have been ever growing. Averaging 700,000 people coming out, which is wild.
Yeah.
And to see it like that, especially after this initial pandemic year,
Right.
where we tried to throw we did.
Yeah.
We did that.
You did that.
We through the virtual showcase,
Right.
which was like the first time ever, kind of stitching everybody tapping in remotely via Zoom or whatever,
Right.
It was wild. And that was still a really cool experience.
Yeah.
But being able to get everybody out of the house again, and then to show up and have like that type of line and that experience was really magical for sure. Yeah, it was a blessing.
Some love. And you speaking of love City Love, kind of the jumping off point for you in this type of activations with spaces and curating art. Can you tell us about your involvement with them?
Yeah. I started through my lovely partner, Ferris.
Shout out to Ferris.
Yeah. She was really good friends with Lucien, who founded Love
Shout
City
out
Love.
Lucien.
Yeah, shout out Lucien. All love. And just kind of randomly ended up there just helping build out spaces and just being kind of extra hands, and that just catapulted into continually supporting and helping evolve the creative mission of providing like affordable, accessible space, inclusive, safe, and we did some curatorial projects around town. We had obviously a bunch of events and and then the Fields started there and when it was just the dry cleaners, and then we took over Artificial Limb, and then I came on board and we did the whole building. It was wild.
Dude.
That was a memory. That was a good one.
Man, that was such good times. Like, if anybody who's like really from the town remembers the Love City Love days, like y'all really did the thing when it came to like activating spaces again and like bringing art, freestyle art. It was poetry, dancing, music, all types of fun stuff. And it was really, really like what arts culture for Seattle needs. You know what I mean? So it's super dope to see you doing that again with the Fields. And I know the Fields works in a number of ways. It's a very multi-dimensional kind of business, setup. So I know you guys do live shows. I know there's some youth involvement. Can you tell us about the other sectors of the Fields?
Yeah, of course. We have Well, first off, we're super excited. Last January 2021, we officially got our 501c3, so which was really cool. Yeah, let's
Come
go.
on.
Labor, another labor of love.
Yes, absolutely.
Because for the longest, it's just been Tori and I, with, of course, an exorbitant amount of volunteers. So shout out all of our volunteers and supporters that have been helping us, of course.
Yes.
And so we strategically, we started working with like youth back from 2016. Tori was given the proceeds to the shows to I think Youth 180. And then we started being like, hey, let's double down on like our like BIPOC youth, educators and youth artists, and bring in the teaching artists that work with the fields,
right,
and just kind of create this cyclical relationship between them, right?
Absolutely.
And so we've been doing I think it's our 4th year officially, where we do summer programming. So it's 2 months out of the summer we do youth programming for ages 5 to 13 with artists that work with the fields. So we're super stoked. It's starting July 5th, so coming up. Unfortunately, all the slots are filled, so next year. But
summer, make sure you tap in.
We're definitely raising more capital. We're hoping to be able to offer year-round after-school programs. So that's kind of in the works. So that's one of our strategic initiatives. We have Celebrate Artists, which is our newest one, which basically is a way to grant stipends and money to artists that are looking to afford like certain aspects of their career, like framing works or print costs or marketing material, stuff like that, where it's smaller grants, ranging in price from $100 to $1,000.
Right.
But
I think we have a sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I think we have an overlay of some of the stuff that you're talking about. So I want to make sure people can see it while you say it. So,
my fault. I'm over here blabbing.
No, you all good. You all good, bro.
So these are just some of the little outlines on our website, thefieldssca.com. And then so that's Celebrate Artists, which we're really excited about because we can collaborate with artists as well. And so we've done some exclusive releases and things like that.
Nice.
And then we have Layers, which is like our digital online series that spawned out of the pandemic with the inability to be in person. And we were like, we still want to tap in with all the artists that we work with. So it's basically a BIPOC initiative focused on people's ability to like go deeper into their creativity and explain a little bit more about their roots of creativity in their community they serve. Because a lot of times, you look at someone's skin color, you can't judge a book by its cover.
Real talk.
It's like, you don't really know what how they made of, what are they talking about, what are they doing? And so we launched that series, and that's been really cool because it's just basically like this deep dive into like the artists, like more internal thinking and thoughts.
Exactly.
And then of course we have our field showcase, like you mentioned, which is our yearly blowout, which is always super fun with music and DJs and usually 16 to 20 artists in a vendor market. And this last year we did an artist panel with Cristina that hosted it as well too. Which
Exactly.
So
that's why I wanted to make sure I had you on this episode, because of the synergy, with the fact that you worked with Cristina before. So I definitely wanted to like.
She's been rocking with Tori forever. They're good friends. So shout out to her too. She's been holding us down, doing cool releases, and always been really a big supporter. So it's all love there for sure.
Definitely. And as far as like what the fields and your guys' plans for the future and figuring out ways to expand on the things that you guys do, the 4 initiative you just mentioned, what are the types of things that you're looking for as far as support and resource?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking me. We've been doing so we just recently solidified a more growing board, which is really cool. It's another like labor of love.
Yep,
Just like everything's a labor of love.
Everything.
Right? So we've been basically getting into the grant cycles. So we're working with a grant writer. We've been working with some press folks as well, which has been really cool. But we're always looking for volunteers, to be honest with you, that just want to kind of like get involved and give back, meaning like support from shows or come hang out with the youth in Art Together and like just support the teaching artists, because it's always nice to have more community bodies that are just around and everybody feels the love and there's like things that need to happen there. But yeah, I mean, that's mainly it. We don't currently have like a full-blown space that we operate out of. We kind of like satellite. And so we were at Langston Hughes last year. This year we'll be at Christina's studio, actually. So that'll be cool for the first month, starting next week. And then we'll be at Aisle 4 Studios for the August month as well, too. So yeah.
That's what's up, man. Y'all doing some big things out the field. So that's super awesome. I know that you got a little something on your lap for me.
I got, I had to bring T-Dub a nice little shirt, so that's for you,
Look at that. I'm in there. I'm in there with the fields, y'all.
That was our field showcase shirt. Yeah. So
Very
yep,
cool.
yeah,
Thank
just
you,
wanted to
bro.
bring you-
Thank you. Yeah, I love for all my future guests. I love clothes. So if you want to give me a gift, you can definitely do that.
What's up?
Yeah, definitely appreciate you, Zach. So before I let you go ahead and poke in that camera right there and let people know how they can get in touch with you in the fields.
Yeah, for sure. You can get in touch with us on thefieldssea.com, at thefieldssea on Instagram. And I think those are the two good jumping off points for where we're at.
Word.
Appreciate
stuff.
the love and support. Yeah, keep in touch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach Self, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Awesome. All right. When we come back, we are going to tap in with our featured artist, Cristina Martinez. Going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, we'll be having the Art of the Matter.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
The truth with proof, the truth with proof. If you nice with the sports, then he swooping through. He gon' highlight you. Ain't nobody live like us, fly like us. We gon' find you, put the city behind you. Let us know you got skills, we gon' be at a game. In the Northwest, we reppin' the city where it rain.
Hey, what up, folks? We are back. Art of the Matter, episode 11 live show. Again, I'm your host, T-Dub, and I will be joined virtually by our featured artist, Miss Cristina Martinez. Cristina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, and we got Al Basir there as well. What's going on, sir?
Ain't nothing, taking it easy.
Yep, for sure. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. I know you guys stay busy and stay moving, so I'm glad we were able to tap in once again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So we have your episode coming up, episode 11. And one of the things that I always tell my guests that I like to do is subtitle each episode. And I subtitled your episode, The Art of Love, because that was what I got from the experience of your show in on Valentine's Day weekend. And obviously interviewing you, at the studio, you got your whole family there, everybody's creating, and you really just get the sense of love and family that comes from what you make. So that's why I gave you that one.
I love it. Thank you. I love that.
Absolutely. So yeah, what do you got going on nowadays?
Our next thing that we're doing, actually, like Zach had mentioned, with Art Together, we're hosting the first class with kids age 6 to 12. So we'll be painting with them for two sessions over the 2 weeks, and we're really looking forward to that. That's the next big thing we have coming, and just planning for that and excited to work with the kids.
That's what's up. I remember when we came to the studio to interview you guys, Al Basir was actually working on a piece for one of your kids' like friends or something like that. He was like so pumped. You want to tell him about that, Al?
I mean, it's a cool kid, and he liked the piece that he saw at the show, that diptych show that me and Cristina done. So, like, I just wanted to do that for him because I thought he was a good kid, and he's an artist, and he's really good.
Very talented.
Yeah.
That's super, super dope, and very like the dopest gift ever to get something like that from the artist directly. So if this don't tell the audience nothing about how these folks get down, especially when it comes to the youth, and ushering in that next generation of creatives, like there it is right there, proof in the pudding. So without further ado, we're about to get into this episode. Are you guys excited?
Yeah, I am.
It was good.
It was fun. It was so easy. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good. And folks don't know this, but of course we're featuring Cristina, but we also had a moment where we had the couples come through. We got to talk about being creative couples and the highs and lows of all that. And I
That
remember
was
there was a
crazy.
few, right.
That was
I
really
remember there was
good.
a few. Yeah, there was a few moments where you were like, we've never talked about this. So that was definitely very cool to share with y'all on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right. So without further ado, we're about to get into episode 11 of Art of the Matter. And after the episode, we're going to tap back in with Cristina and Al and get a quick little Q&A and see what's going on in the chat. So let's watch this episode, y'all. Art of the Matter.
You know, the more you learn, the more experiences you have that are brought to you by your artwork, you just become more of yourself. You know, it's like you kind of start out, you're trying to figure it out. The more I do, the more that I can walk into these spaces and just be me.
Cool. Glad this is happening, man. It's been a long time coming.
It
trying
has.
to ships in the night, trying to work these schedules.
I was like, it has to happen this week. Right. It gets crazy after this.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it worked.
Me too. I'm so glad to sit down and talk to you about your art. And I feel like, you know, being from the Northwest, I feel a sort of like a kinship just in the fact of like where we grow up and like to make the type of art that you make and tell the story that you do with what you create is just very fascinating to me. So I wanted to, you know, chop it up a little bit. Like when do you remember, or how young were you when you first started like getting into it?
I remember being, I would say probably like 7 or 8. I was an only child and my mom worked 3 jobs, so I was home alone a lot. And I knew that I was naturally drawn to expressing myself creatively. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it looked like. I never ever thought of it as a career or anything I could ever do. I used to tell people I wanted to be a judge because it just like sounded cool. And I remember seeing Bob Ross on TV, and that was like the first person where I saw him doing it like as a career and on TV, and I just thought it was like the craziest, coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Yes.
But for me, I think still it felt like, because he didn't look like me, and it just felt very, very far away. And I think like as life continued, I just continued to move creatively the way that I was pulled to, just for like sanity. I mean, an only child, I was lonely a lot. My mom, like I said, she worked very, very hard. And so as I got older and started to take art more seriously, then I learned about Frida Kahlo and Pablo Picasso, and like I started to see myself in Frida specifically. I remember learning about her when I was maybe like 13 years old. And I think it wasn't really until I was like an adult that I was like, okay, I can really do this, and this can be what I do to survive. And that's why now it's so important for me to make sure that my kids and other kids understand that early on, because it's like when you're passionate about something but it doesn't feel like you can also make that your life, it's a really weird space to be in. So, you know, if I can help someone else understand that sooner, like that, I'm thinking about that all the time.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely remember, you know, probably about the same age, being a kid and just being attracted to and intrigued by very particular things, and it felt like it was like, I'm pretty sure other kids aren't into this, that kind of thing, you know? But having that creative mind and having that creative mindset and knowing that it had to come out in some way, shape, or form that you weren't necessarily seeing, you know, in regular life. So can you talk about some of the ways in which that you explored your creativity?
Yeah, one of my earliest memories creatively was like, we didn't have, canvases and paint or anything like that laying around the house at all. But I remember my mom had gone to work and I knew I was gonna be home by myself till midnight. And I found like these lasagna noodles and my mom's nail polish, and I'm telling you, like, I created like full landscapes on these lasagna noodles. And I remember my mom came home and she was like, "You made this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I remember her telling me, I'll never forget it, she was like, I pray that these simple things will always like make you happy, because it was just like, I was so happy to just get it out and to express and just to make something, and then I remember in 3rd grade, my mom's best friend, her boyfriend, randomly bought me one of those art sets, that has like the pastels, the watercolor, the markers, like the ones that you open up. And that I remember very vividly, like thinking like, I could do anything now. Like this was like the greatest thing that ever happened. And from there, I just really, I would cut paper, I would collage, I would paint, I would draw. It was just something that I knew made me feel good. And then I I went to college and I like to take photos. It was just always just kind of like not limiting myself creatively, but following whatever it was that it took me. I spent years in fashion school only to figure out that I like drawing and I like the illustration part. I didn't want to sew anymore, And so I think one of the things that's really helped me is just allowing myself to be open-minded, not boxing myself in, and just going creatively wherever I was called to go. And I still do that now, like I was just telling you about the felt, and it just being open to experimenting always.
You went to school for fashion. Okay. And then that was kind of like, was that like your plan A?
It was my plan A after my original plan A. Okay. So first I went to UNLV in Vegas, and my friends were going and I wanted to go, and I did all the right things. Like, it was Vegas, so I'm like, I'm gonna study hospitality, and I'm gonna work in a casino and a hotel, and I tried to follow that path because it seemed like it made the most sense. But then in my last year of school, I remember telling my mom, I'm like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be doing this. And I've been really blessed to have my mom be very supportive through all of my crazy chaos and decisions that looked like bad decisions at the time, And so I left and I ended up going to fashion school in San Francisco. And that's where I realized that painting is what I really, really felt like I was supposed to do. Really stop and ask yourself, what makes you happy? What do you like to do? And I think in life, even when I was in Vegas, it's like sometimes we just start to just kind of go with the flow of life. Like, oh, this makes sense, or this impresses people when I say I'm studying hospitality and I live in Vegas and work at a hotel, but it's like I'm thankful that I was aware enough to slow down and really be in tune with what was on my heart. Because I can't imagine living any other life now, While I was in fashion school, I really just started to just make art as much as I could. And I stopped going to school. At that point, when I was going to school, I already had my son. So it was just, I was really balancing a lot of things. And I just realized that I believed in myself enough to just try to do it on my own. And, I think now, if I could go back to school now, my state of mind would be so different. I would love to go to school now, but I think you gotta just do what you can at that point in your life. And so the best thing for me was to leave fashion school, and I just started to pursue my art
with any extra time that I had.
Right.
And here we are.
Rest is history, man. I could imagine, like you said, like having your son definitely added some.
Yeah, that was definitely the hardest part. I mean, I worked after I left fashion school. I worked 2 jobs, not at the same time, but I went through 2 different phases, worked 2 different jobs, and was kind of trying to balance the 9 to 5 and make art on the side. And I think one of the biggest things that kept me from going full-time with my art was, like, am I making my kids sacrifice for the sake of me following my dreams? And I would constantly like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if things are gonna go well. Like, do I make such a big decision and take risks and go full-time with art while I'm also responsible, And so I did it anyways.
Yeah.
And, I just really believe that it's almost like that hunger and that feeling of like, no, this has to work. It works. It's worked out. Right. I've kind of kept that mentality in life in general. Just like you have to make a decision to get through it and to figure it out. And if it's important to you, you will.
You've been an artist for how long, would you say?
I've comfortably been calling myself an artist for maybe like the last 6 years.
Okay.
I think if I look back at my life, I've probably always been an artist, but like really feeling confident and saying like I am an artist, it's probably been about 6 years.
Okay. Throughout those 6 years, how would you say your art or your creativity has evolved?
My art, I think, just continues to become more authentically like who I am. It's like you learn how to kind of quiet some of the outside voices and just to really truly make what's in your heart, which is hard these days because so much of being an artist is like working with brands and, you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
And so staying true to yourself and also trying to create work that blends with other people, other companies, partnerships, things like that. It gets tricky, but I think the more that I do it, the more that I understand who I am as an artist. And, in the end, it just becomes, as it evolves, it just becomes more and more authentically me.
One of the other things I wanted to talk to you about, of course, is process. And I know that you deal in a lot of different mediums and canvases. Can you speak a little bit about like your artistic process? Like, what is a day in the studio like for you?
Yeah, I think that I don't have a real routine process. I think it always looks different. My life has a lot of moving parts, especially like with my kids and my relationship and just traveling. And so I've learned to get really comfortable being able to just create wherever I am. And so it always looks different. I mean, when I travel, I like to take oil pastels with me because it's like nice. I can feel like I can still create something with like texture and color and, but on a smaller scale. I more recently have been back painting oils again, and just, it really just changes, I think sometimes like creative process is like, you imagine it just like has to be a certain way, or candles are lit, or certain music is playing. Like sometimes like it's just pure silence. Sometimes I want to sit in front of the TV. Sometimes I work from home and make pieces that I love. One thing I love to do, I love going to my mom's house and like just working on the kitchen table. Like it just, for some reason, that always like feels really, really good to me. I'll do like a very loose sketch occasionally. Sometimes I don't sketch. It just really, really depends. But it's all feeling.
Right.
None of it really is like anything I've actually like learned.
Right. It's just talent.
Yeah.
I think that's what they call that, right?
Talent, craziness, emotion. I don't know. It's got to come out. That's what I know.
That's all we know.
Then we just do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You know, you just hope that people will see it and that it'll make them feel something.
Right.
You know,
right. And
what they feel is really out of my control, but
real.
You know, my job here is to just express, and I never really know what that looks like until I make it.
Yeah. It's amazing, man.
Thank you.
It really is. One of the things that you got to do recently, bringing it back to the fashion, which is so, you know, full circle, is your collaboration with Nordstrom. And can you tell us a little bit about like how that process was for you, given the fact that you've gone to fashion school, have a working knowledge of that sort of thing? And
yeah, that project, what I loved about it creatively was that some of the things that I was turned off from fashion-wise and in fashion school, I didn't really have to address those things in this project because it really, truly started with the art.
Right.
So in the beginning, I went into my paintings. They basically commissioned, it started with 8 paintings. I think we ended up at 11 or something like that. But I really went into it making the paintings with the state of mind that like, I'm not going to think about how this will become fabric. I'm only gonna just make art.
Right.
And so I made the paintings like paintings. Some of them were so broken down by the end, like only I knew that they came from these paintings, you know, but at the root of it was art and brush strokes and stories and experiences. And so I really loved that part of the Nordstrom collaboration because it's like, it went beyond being a jacket or a skirt. Like I looked at it and I could see my art, you know? And so to be able to see people piece it together and like tell this new story on their body, that was just like
next level.
It was so cool. It was really, I mean, sometimes I'll like go to my daughter's school and see like one girl with the leggings on and another girl with the t-shirt, and it's just like, it's so cool to see different parts of paintings like come together on your body, which is like really like, for me, I think clothes and like what you wear is just like the highest form of like self-expression, and to be a part of that, but to still be true to who I am and make art and not like over here trying to be a designer, you know? It was really a very cool experience. I feel like I didn't really have to compromise my work in any way, and I think that that kept it fun.
It's big things.
Thank you.
Big things. Thank you. And I mean, you know, you've done gallery shows all over. You now have ventured into fashion. Like, are there things that you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Yeah. I think always. I think there will forever be things that I want to do, and I try to just reach higher and higher and higher each time. But I think if I didn't have that, you know, it would be easy to just be cool with just hanging out. But it's like you gotta always want more. I really believe in that. I think that, you know, for me, there's still so many ideas that like live in my brain that haven't come out yet, that part of it just, you know, I'm so thankful that doesn't go away.
Right. Yeah, I definitely wanted to, you know, have a moment with the couples as well. But I think one of the things that I enjoy about you guys, especially, is your relationship and the way you guys create together and create art together. I think it's just so dope. And as a person as well who has a creative partner, I know that there can be highs and lows that come with that. So I definitely wanted to, you know, highlight you guys.
I'm glad you said that out loud. We always look for opportunities we always appreciate the opportunities where we can talk about like how real it is. It's very easy to look on the internet and be like, oh, I want an art day, you know, and it's hard.
It's definitely difficult.
It's hard.
Very passionate people, you know, so naturally when it's passionate people, you have a stance.
Right.
You know, so it often it can do that, but like it's like either very, very beautiful or very, very toxic. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But the fact that you guys have persevered is a
Yeah.
testament to that connectivity and why it's so important.
Yeah.
Can you guys talk about like how you guys met?
We did an art show that neither one of us really knew the people who were doing it. It was actually a museum show at the Mocha in Cleveland. So it was very, very random for me to even do it, you know, because somebody called me and was just like, yo, I know this guy doing a thing. Long story short, we both committed to it and we got there. And when I first saw her, you know how you see people and it's like, you know, I didn't think immediately like this is my.
I thought I worked at the
but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I didn't know immediately that she was like my person, but I did immediately feel something because like within minutes, literally seconds really, when I walked in, we introduced ourselves and then she was like, come here, let me ask you something about like where you think as far as these pieces go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like we just, when you think about it, it's kind of crazy because that was it. And then I walked over there and I was like, I think it should, you know. She was like, yeah, me too. Like I was saying that, you know, and it was just natural, right? And it
like
was
trust immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know you, but I want your
very
opinion.
crazy though when you think about, because that is what
That is
happened. Like,
crazy.
and we never really talk about that part of it because we
that
go
is
to the bigger part.
Yeah, that conversation sparked up, and I had told him later on in the conversation that his voice sounded familiar, which is then where the story gets super deep. But that is true.
Yeah, I mean, but we never talk about that part of it. But we, she said my voice, and she was like, you sound like somebody who I know, a friend of mine who passed away. And I'm like, huh? Like, she's like, he's from Philly. I'm like, I am too. She's like, Rasul. And that's a really good friend of mine, weirdly enough, you know? And I'm like, but her best friend and a very good friend of mine tragically passed away in a car accident together. And it was just weird and then I instantly remembered being at the memorial and seeing the people that was coming up and realizing who I did know, who I didn't know. And she was one of the people that was up on that stage that day. And I was just like, wow. And then we just talked about that forever. Like, we just couldn't believe it. Just kept talking about it.
And the show was exactly a year to the date from the funeral. And so for me, I remember when I left the hotel that night to go to this event where we met at, it was like, I had been talking about Leah. I had to accept what was happening in my life so much, and people had connected to that part of me, so I was being forced to like speak about her when I was out in public so much that night, I was just like, I remember leaving the room and like crying. I was just like, please just let me go through the night. This was like one of the first things I had done since then. And I was just like, all I want to do is just not talk about you tonight. And I was just like, please, 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 like, can I just like have one night? And then as soon as I see him, I bring it up, you know. And so to meet someone who's also, you know, has grief for a person that was in the car with the person, you know what I mean? It just was so intertwined, and it was like everything I didn't want to talk about, and then that's what we talked about.
It was very crazy.
The whole night. And
I get that too, like the friend group thing, because she and I were friends for hella years before we started dating. But our friends were actually like, like kind of gave the approval. They were like,
But it's hard because then in the moments that it's been hard between us, it affects, you know, everybody. It's really a community. And I think there's, in some ways, that's really special to have a community relationship. You have people to hold you to it, but it also can be tricky. Very tricky.
But we also gotta like factor in the times we live in though. I don't think we do that often enough. You know, we all put it on ourselves in our personal relationship and like that. But it's a lot of moving parts that's going on in the world that affect that dynamic too. For sure. Mentally, you know, it's a lot of strenuous these days, you know.
Absolutely. And that's kind of why I wanted to, you know, highlight your guys' relationship because like
you know, we went to the show you guys did for Valentine's Day weekend, and I was just like, wow, and we see some of the pieces here, and it's just like, wow, like they are together.
Yeah.
Like co-parenting, you guys got, you know, both have kids, and both like bringing these
blended
families together, and like and creating art and creating beauty from that. It's just absolutely fantastic. But
it's a blessing.
If we can, let's get to know you a little bit more too.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your artistic journey?
I mean, for me, I always done art. It was always something I did, and I never took it serious, of course, because I was born in the 1900s.
Say it like that.
No, that's what the kid. That's how they talk now about people. No, for real. Like people from the 1900s, like what? But like, you know, to be an artist, it was not something that I'm from Philly too, so I'm in the hood. It's Big Daddy Kane, it's, you know, Biz Markie, these kind of people. That's who we want to be. Like, you don't want to be Picasso and nobody like that. Although secretly, that's all the people I looked up to. I just didn't think I could do it. So I chose rap, you know, and anything I do, I kind of go balls to the wall, so to speak. Pardon my French, but like, you know, I just go all the way, you know, and I just kept pushing, but I never stopped doing art, ever. I didn't do it professionally, seriously, but like, it just flows out, you know. I would just make art, and I don't know, honestly, my music career slowed up, and I was trying to figure out like, what was the next step for me. I didn't want to be an old rapper, you know what I mean, trying to hang on for dear life and you know, keep the dream alive. But I'm passionate about it, very passionate, but I also know, you know, when it's time to move around. So therapeutically, I started getting back into my art just to kind of think and figure stuff out. And then I had a couple lucky breaks, which we all need, you know what I mean? And the ball rolled my way a couple times when I thought like nothing was going my way. You know, I'm like, everything is fucked up, nothing's going right. And then just a couple little things happen, and then boom.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you guys both for sitting down with us and being on the show. I'm glad we got to make this happen. We are busy and jet set and all that.
You're busy. I was
For
like,
sure.
oh, you get squeezed in.
And I watched it. I watched what you saying. It looked really cool. It was really good.
He really was like, make sure you,
it looked really good.
Get that figured out so we can do it.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad. This was so easy. And,
it was.
Dope.
And real.
Wow, man. Well, there you guys have it. Episode 11, The Art of Love, featuring Cristina Martinez with special appearance by Albasir Holly. You guys have seen the episode. What do you think? How was it?
Good.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was beautiful.
Awesome. I'm so glad you guys love it, man. That was such a great conversation. And to be able to have the moment with all the couples, you know, and get down to some nitty and some gritty. Obviously, a lot of it didn't make the episode, but we got a good amount of stuff in there about,
we got
and things
deep.
like that.
Yeah,
definitely, and definitely ran the gamut. But I did want to ask you guys, like, how did the Diptych show come about? Because that was where I approached Cristina about being on the show. I saw the show, the Diptych show, and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, I got to get you on Art of the Matter. So how did that show come about for you guys?
Well, we initially was planning on showing doing Basel, and it just kind of was feeling more like, you know, Seattle, where she's from, doing the show, you know, like just something like we did a show in LA, and it just, I don't know, just woke up one day and we was talking about the show, and I was like, I think you should do it home, like, you know, and she was like, yeah, I think so, and then we just put it together.
That's dope. And I remember when we had talked about it at the show, Cristina, you were saying how, you know, you had been doing art all over, you know, and it was kind of important for you to bring your stuff back home, you know, to make sure that Seattle was being represented in the ways that it should with regard to Black women and artists.
Yeah, definitely. I think just, obviously I'm from Tacoma, I have to say that, but, you know, we had some experience showing in Access in Seattle a few times, and it just was really important for us to be able to experience a show like that with my family too, and you know, people that I grew up with, and so yeah, it was such a moment for me to be able to see all my cousins and, you know, everybody kind of see our hard work come together.
Yeah, you could definitely feel the love in the room. It was very palpable, and I loved the piece that you guys had. There was like a centerpiece where it looked like all the kids had got an opportunity to be a part of the art.
Yeah.
You know, and it's clearly something that's very important, you guys, for like your kids and the children of your community being able to figure out and learn creativity. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, we always say, like, if the youth can see themselves in our work, then we've done what we were supposed to do, because that's who we're really, really speaking to. You know, they are the future. And just to have those moments where the kids feel seen and the kids are drawn to art, it's always like the best part of a show to us. And our kids, all of them, you know, any show we do, they're like, where's our wall at? So to be able to have that moment with them, and you know, we created that together, all of us in the studio, very randomly. It was not a planned thing at all, and it was something I won't forget. You know, pray that they never forget it either. But yeah, having that be a moment in the show and having our whole family be a part of it was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was super awesome. And again, you could feel the love in the room. And I know you guys, you, Christina and Albasir, you guys work together on pieces, but you also work together on putting together shows. And I know, Albasir, recently you actually got to curate a show at the Roots Picnic. Can you tell us about that? Because that was major.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really just like going back to show home. And I never showed my art in my hometown, and got the opportunity to curate the show, which be a yearly annual thing, and just getting bigger and blow it out more and more. But it was really cool, and like how it felt for her in Seattle, like that's how it was, like the Philly version of that, because it was just a bunch of family. It felt like a family cookout, our side of it, like with what we did, and it was cool. And of course, you know, we just collaborate well together, no matter who project it is, whether it be hers or be mine. We just really help each other a lot, and it's really cool to have somebody like that.
Very true. Very true. I can definitely attest to that as well, you know. Um, And then one of the other things I wanted to ask, because you spoke about it a little bit in the episode, Christina, of like when you worked with Nordstrom's, and even before that, you talked about not losing yourself when you work with brands. Can you talk about like what helps you do that? Because I know a lot of people will see a Nordstrom's or see a major brand and that wants to collaborate with them, and they'll kind of give more of themselves than they should to that sort of situation. So can you talk about like maintaining yourself in your art and working in places like that?
Yeah, I think that my biggest motivation when it comes to a situation like that, I always try to think about the opportunity in terms of my kids, just because they are both creative. And I just always think, like, if this was my kid in this situation, like, is the system built to showcase them in the right way? Is this system built to market them in the right way? Is it going to keep their art authentic and true? And if it doesn't feel like that, if it's not something I would want for them, then I push and push and push and push until things change. And I think that it's unfortunate sometimes to be the person in that situation and to have to, like, you know, fight and work at the same time. But because the youth is such a driving force for what we do, it's worth it. And it's not even something I think about now. It's just like, if it's not right, then you have to fight to make it right.
That's very real. And I'm sure, for both of you guys as parents, we can get, jump off the art for a second and just talk about the world, because everybody's talking about it. The situation with Roe v. Wade is huge for us. And as parents, can you guys kind of speak to how you're talking to your kids about the situation?
I think, for me, my kids are younger, so it's more of a conversation about, pushing for things that are important. And maintaining control over yourself and the things that you believe in. And, you know, I think when it's time for me to have specific conversations with them about things like that, I will. And, you know, when it comes to, we had very in-depth conversations about George Floyd and things like that. But I think that my biggest thing is getting my kids to understand, like, it's never okay to just like settle. Like, you have to continue to push for change.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I spoke to my daughter briefly about it, but everybody knows how I feel just in general. And I just believe in supporting women, always have, and like doing it together. And I don't know. I just don't think it's right to put something, or rather take something out of law to kind of take us back like hundreds of years. I feel like set us back on something like the right for a woman to decide what she want to do with her body. It's just kind of crazy, honestly. It's weird to have to talk about, but it's the reality that we're in. And hopefully we can get it instituted back in law in some way, shape, or form in the future. That's what we need to strive to do.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, you know, creativity plays a huge role in you guys being able to have these harder conversations with your kids. So, you know, definitely appreciate that, and appreciate y'all again for being with us here. You know, I know you guys been mad busy, so I'm glad you guys were able to tap in and watch the episode with us. We got any questions in the chat, Selma? Nope, no questions in the chat. I want to give a shout out to my mom. I saw her in there. What up, Mom Dukes? Yeah. Before you guys go, you want to let people know how they can find you, find your art, and find out where you guys will be next.
Instagram is a good place. We are both migrating through TikTok slowly but surely. We'll get there. But Instagram, So Trill, and The Art of Albasir, and then both of our websites, juneandmars.com and
albasirholly.com.
Bet. Definitely go tap in with them. They're making amazing art individually and collectively. Thank you guys, Cristina and Albasir, again for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna take a quick little break, or actually, nope, we're not gonna take a break because we're almost to our hour. I want to say again, thank you to my guests. Thank you, Zach Sell, for stopping through the studio. Thank you, Cristina and Albasir, for joining us virtually. I want to thank everybody who is watching right now, everybody in the comments. I saw Irene. Shout out to Irene. It's been a great show. Episode 11 is in the bag, and we have 2 episodes left. 2 episodes left of this first season of Art of the Matter, and I cannot believe we're almost there. But yes, again, like, if you guys want to tap in with the show, make sure that you contact us. I'm on Instagram at Art of the Matter, as well as at TW Customs. Obviously Twitter as well too. You can hit up Converge and tap in with us. If you want to be a guest on the show, you want to talk about your art, you can definitely come through. I'm always down to feature new and different type of artists. So definitely contact us through those social media platforms. And of course, we have our next episode 12 is coming up. And I get the honor to feature my best friend, Brianna Breeze Costin. She came to the studio actually for Kayla's episode and sat down with us. And so now we get to feature her as an artist and talk about Brianna Monet paints and all the dope stuff that she's been doing these past couple of years. So definitely tune in. July 11th will be episode 12, Art of the Matter. I have been T-Dub. Thank you guys once again for joining me. And as always, stay creative.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.